Welcome back to First Listen, everybody. My name's 10th Isle, and I hope you're doing well today. This week on First Listen, we checked out Trivium's latest album, their 8th album. I didn't know they released that many. The Sin and the Sentence. This is a cool album. I do have some criticisms, so bear with me. Let's put this disclaimer out there, this caveat, that I am a very casual Trivium fan. Very casual. I've listened to a lot of, maybe quite a few albums ago and a little bit here and there. So kind of just take it all with knowing that, but I'm a metal fan and this is a good metal band. So let's get into this First Listen. The album opens up with the self-titled track. Right away, I love that. I love when bands do that. They just get right to it. This is a very slick, fast-paced track. And I like it. The whole track is kind of complemented by, again, sweet guitars, awesome drums, some spoken vocals, which I tend to like here and there, and some metal. And then there's some well-timed screams. These might be some of the better screams on the album. I don't know. You could kind of pick and choose from each track which scream you like. There's a couple varieties. I really like this open. It was powerful in a way and cool. A side point here. I didn't know that the guy perfecting those screams on this track actually didn't do any screams on the previous album because he hurt his voice. So the fact that they are coming back strong here on this album right away really set the tone for this album. That being said, let's move on to Beyond Oblivion, where the screams actually feel a little bit stretched. They don't hit quite as hard. This song actually doesn't hit quite as hard as the first one there. But I don't know if it's its own fault, if it's getting in its own way. I'm not really sure. And then there's the solo. That is probably the bright spot on the whole album. You know, with the vocals not quite doing exactly what you would think they're going to do. And then there's that weird effect that makes it seem like there's a crowd or something. I'm not sure what that is. I'm sure there's a term for it. It just feels a little off. But let's move on. The Heart from Your Hate. This track hits pretty nicely, actually. It comes in through like a fog or a void and really lays everything out quite nicely. This track also comes off as very hard rock, maybe not so much metal. The most metal thing in this is probably the drums. Not that the guitars are bad, they're good. This track just maybe isn't quite what I was expecting. And I'm pretty sure it's those echoing chants, you know, almost after every other line here and there that make it feel that way. But it could just be me. Then we have Betrayer. This track opens with two really wicked screams that just hooked me in right away and made me want to see and explore where this track was going to go. So this track actually does a thing where it bounces back and forth. It goes a little soft and then a little heavy with the screams and then spoken vocals and then back and then forth. It actually fits pretty well, which is surprising because I know some metal bands have tried to do that and they don't always do it that well. Here, it feels just right. Oh, and that solo hits, and it probably saves the song. If this solo isn't in there, if these guitars aren't this good, there's no way it's saved and then completely taken home with this just awesome riff at the end. Nice. Endless Night. This track is on my level. It has something that I can't quite pinpoint, plus maybe a Stone Sour feel, which I love. It really feels radio friendly. That's it. That's what I couldn't pinpoint. like I've heard it before, because I probably have. The solo, again, on this track is pretty killer. It keeps you going, keeps you listening, keeps you vibing too. Beauty and the Sorrow. This track opens almost like it's haunting you a little bit. Again, a nice slow and then fast, and then slow and then fast. It's kind of reeling you in and then pulling you back and pushing you away, and all those at once. This track's really telling you a somber story. The vocals on this track, to me, are excellent. Maybe the best on the album. And god damn, the guitars are on another planet, in another universe. They're just the best. The album wraps up with Thrown into the Fire. This track does a lot. It hits heavy, delivers some nice screams, and, you know, really goes some places. I actually was a little taken aback by some of what was going on this track. It may not be the best finish, but it's not the worst track. There are a couple other tracks on here that don't quite hit, but this one still feels like it belongs on the album. Overall, I like the album. I think it's pretty good. There's some vocal choices here and there that maybe need changed up, but again, my opinion. The guitars are fantastic. The drums are so solid the whole way through. Really like how the drums and I believe multiple guitars go in there at the same time just really melts you into place. This is a good album. I think it's maybe like a 7 out of 10 when I was hoping for maybe an 8, but no worries. That's going to do it for this edition of First Listen. I hope you enjoyed. Hit up the comments down below with your thoughts about this album. We can continue to talk music. You hit me up here on Twitter as well. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please come on back to the next First Listen. Have a nice metal day.